Welcome to 207 Squadron streaming channel, bringing you the best in X-Wing that Maine and New Hampshire has to offer. The 207 Squad is a bunch of tabletop players who love all things Star Wars, especially games like X-Wing, Legion, and Armada. I'm your host, Hoth Trooper Josh Shu, and one of the moderators of our little squad. Tonight, we're ending our month-long online TTS tournament, Chassis Wars. With me is our streaming and data analysis guru, Alex Barbary. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Doing well, Josh. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Enjoying the fact that this is our last round. Excited
Yes.
to see what happens. And also our guest co-host, Perky Nerd X-Winger, Bryant Francis. Thank you for joining us tonight, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
And he's here to drop some analysis knowledge. Brian, I'm so excited that you can join us tonight for Chassis Wars. We it's our first tournament ever online, and so we're really excited to sort of be able to have you join us.
Yeah, Josh, I gotta say, for those who don't know, when Josh was a California boy, we flew together out of the Perky Nerd, and it's been really nice to see him migrate back east and then just sort of help build this cool squadron on the East Coast. So it's nice. I'm just sort of like I'm just coming into your house and like admiring the furniture, I guess is the best metaphor. Get ready for all the metaphors. I use metaphors religiously.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate them all. So let's go ahead and share with our viewers what Chassis Wars is. So obviously, for the past 5 weeks, each week, a player has brought a 200-point extended list that uses a unique ship chassis for each pilot and does not reuse a chassis flown in any previous weeks. So, for example, right, all the ships that we're seeing on the board tonight, these players have not flown before. And they have had to fly different pilots every single week and different types of ships every single week. So that's pretty exciting.
You're telling me instead of just following MetaWing or just playing that thing they're used to, people have to try being good at X-Wing? How dare you?
Yeah, absolutely.
How dare you?
Right. That's what I love about this. You can't just practice one
How
list.
dare you?
That's been the struggle for me.
I'm reporting you to X-Wing court, which we needs to be overthrown because it's unfair and judicious. This metaphor is also off the rails.
It's just run by some popular random meta, right? Random, rando, in any case,
unpopular randos, unpopular randos.
I've got to say, it's been really exciting to see all different lists. And I mean, obviously, week after week, we've seen people fly from different factions because obviously that's the easiest thing. I just want to give a special shout out to Joe Churchman for flying Scum every single week of this tournament. Every other player has played at least 3 factions throughout the tournament. So, Alex, have we seen any trends this week, or any trends that you can maybe sum up for us for the entire tournament?
Yeah. So right now, I think the leading, as you kind of already hinted at with Joel, is the Scum faction itself has been leading in our list week to week, with holding right now 30% of all of the faction lists have been Scum. Followed closely behind, actually in a dead heat, are Rebels and Empire, and then trailed by Resistance, and then also Republic Separatists, with First Order at the very, very bottom.
I mean, it's so interesting that First Order is at the bottom. Why do you think that is? I mean, obviously they don't have that many chassis, right?
That's exactly what I was going to lead into.
That's your answer.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's
They're also, their success in the broader meta has been a lot of something that came to mind as you were explaining the format is that it's not just that you can't use them week to week, it's that you can't use them in the same list, which means a lot of the force multipliers in X-Wing, or even just like it's good to fly, even 2 of the same chassis in a list sometimes. It just doesn't work here, which means like some lists that I've seen, including Kylo Ren with a Sinar engineer and then a 3rd ship, was something that I saw successful for a moment. Hollow and 3 Barons, like it doesn't work. It's not possible. The First Order is structurally designed to be least played in this tournament. On the other hand, it seems like it's a niche pick if you want to surprise your opponents during that 1 week where you go Kylo Hollow or something, Kylo Hollow generic TIFO or something. That seems like a possibility, but it doesn't seem like it can sustain week to week.
Yeah. So tonight we're down to the final 2. We got Joel Sprinkle versus Will Webb. Yeah. And I thought we'd talk a little bit about what Joel's done so far. Joel is the only player that's gone undefeated thus far. I think Joel played, I think, a GSP event recently where he also went 6-0, only to sort of get cut in the final cut before that. So, I mean, Joel is an incredible player. And if Joel continues the streak tonight, that means that he'll be the winner of this tournament. However, after Rogelio Hernandez was defeated last week, Rogelio actually won his last round this week, giving him the highest MOV. So this means that if Will is able to win tonight's match, and Will has gone 4-1, he can play spoiler, rocketing Rogelio to first place and take second. This sort of really interesting in terms of spoilers.
So Will's job is to make Joel sad.
Yes, I think that's his only
His
job.
only objective.
His only objective.
And like you can do that without even winning.
Yeah, and he's our league tyrant, so obviously he runs our leagues. So I imagine he'll enjoy that quite a bit. So it looks like they're pretty much set up to go. So
what has Joel been playing so far?
We've seen Joel run some high initiative ships. We've seen him run Hera Wedge Han, Dengar Fen Han, but most notably, we've also seen some counter ace lists like his Imperial Barrage Rockets, which ironically resembles Will's list tonight. And we've also seen his insane Ketsu, Torkel, and Zuckus lists, which earned a Most Original List award last week. And that dominated Rogelio's Vader Whisper Duchess last week. So I was really impressed by the way he flew Zuckus, Torkel, and Ketsu together. So I'm interested to see how he pulls together tonight this crazy list.
And what is Will seems to have brought something, some Imperial beef, some Imperial meat, Imperial beef alternative, like Beyond Burger, Imperial Beyond Burger. That's what we're calling it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a little bit of Imperial beef tonight, but I love seeing Will because Will flies a whole bunch of different lists. For example, he's played some strong control lists using Tirani and Old Tarak to sort of deprive people of tokens, and then or using FTC with Zuckus, Forlom, and Zam. I've also impressed with his 5-ship resistance list. Honestly, I nominated him for a Most Original List just because he had a pilot at each initiative, being able to set up blocks, being able to basically sort of create multiple targets and sort of really confuse his opponent on which target is most important. So I think it's interesting to see him sort of play a list that is a little bit more beefy and requires a little bit more sort of peeling tokens away so that eventually he can sort of put through damage.
Just really quick, I'm happy to be looking at chat. A Fish Has Born has raised an interesting claim, which I can't verify at this moment, which is that if Will wins by less than 13 points, then Joel can still take first place. Which just really goes to show you that math is bullshit. We should not be relying on math for anything in our lives, and I would like to declare war on math here in this chat. I would like it officially declared.
Way to go, Nick. I appreciate that. This is sort of exciting. Hey, Axion, how you doing? Glad you could join us tonight. And Alex, it looks like we're almost ready to go.
Looks like it. Let me just check in with the players real quick.
I see a lot of placed ships. The dials don't seem to be set yet, but we're not getting an honorable joust. That's for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Joel's list while we're here. Yeah. So obviously we've got Nini, and Chewbacca, and obviously I think that's right there. Who is that right there that he has got? Kazuda and Rose. I mean, yeah. It's an interesting list.
Yes, everything you just said is accurate.
Yeah. How do you feel about that list? Like, do you have any sort of insights into that?
Funny enough, I'm mostly a resistance main. I love my modified YT 1300 Rebel Transport A-Wing combo. This one is interesting. Chewbacca with friends has been a known factor for a while, but in the bounds of this tournament, it's very difficult to get like up to 4 support ships for Chewbacca because you can't spam like fireballs or something. But 3 is not a bad choice if you like. It's sort of like you're within the known capacities of this list. That being able to trigger that revenge shot 3 to 4 times, because you can also trigger it, I believe, on Chewbacca's death. Yep, friendly ship at range 0. So that extra tap is going to matter on certain turns. Rose is a don't underestimate Rose list. I consistently see Rose in very good lists just because of her staying power. And then I'm glad to see Nimi taking the table. I think she's been good for a while, and I sort of think she's just been crowded out by other ships. So the limitations of this tournament are bringing out some good stuff. And Kaz is that's Kaz. We know, although this is a leaner Kaz with R4 Astro instead of R5, which means it's going to be stuck. Speaking of which, we should make sure that damage card is down. Although I think I see it sitting out there by the left hand of the deck, but Kaz should have a damage card down now that he's deployed.
And does he have a damage card? Let's go ahead and check in with them. Alex, if you can check in with the damage card.
He does. He's got one. It's sitting next to him on the. It's slightly off of the stream.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. It's right there.
Side. It's on the side of the table.
Okay.
It's just slightly blocked
Great.
off.
Fantastic. I mean, obviously, Kaz is just a great sort of pocket ace who can throw some heat, especially at higher initiative ships. And or as long as he doesn't have 4 damage cards in this case, maybe even 5. He'll always be able to throw that 3 dice in this scenario, at least for the first few rounds. Nimi, I think, is by far my favorite ship. If you ignore her, she just punishes you with a bunch of...
Nimi will be effective against this entire list because everyone is a higher initiative.
Everybody is a higher initiative. And so Nimi's going to sort of bring some heat. Rose there for support, and then Chewbacca, obviously. As long as Chewbacca doesn't get trapped, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
What about Will's list? What are your thoughts on it? Obviously, everybody sort of jokes about Kestel being there, but Kestel is really sort of, at least in this tournament, we've seen him sort of pull off some sort of amazing tricks.
Well, first off, we're off. Just a quick heads up. We should acknowledge the fact that the game started, and Nimi is off with a 3 bank to the right. Are you calling this? Which side are you calling?
You go ahead and call Joel. That's fine.
Okay,
I'll
so
be on this
Nimi's
side.
off with where it looks like Joel has chosen something resembling a joust with a 3 bank for Nimi and a focus, a 2 bank and something for Rose. He's still working on. And to close off my thought, I just want to say for when it comes to Kestel is a pocket Jedi Hunter, which is kind of appropriate for an Imperial ship. Kestel's ability, while you perform an attack, after the defender rolls defense dice, you may spend a focus token to cancel all of the defender's blank and eyeball results. That's how you stop gas cloud defenses. That's how you stop Jedi force defenses. The catch is obviously spending that focus token has to come after your modified defense dice stage, which means you need to know your attack was worth it. There's lots of tricks around that. I don't see any of them particularly on hand, except for disciplined and thread tracers on Inquisitor to help make sure Kestel has mods. But in this reduced scope format, you can sort of go confidently knowing that your opponent won't be bringing swarms or anything. So Kestel can be a really effective anti-ace piece. To close out Joel's opening moves, I'm just jumping around between things. It looks like Chewbacca's gone for a 2-turn and bump into Rose. Don't know how intentional that was. While Kaz took the outside approach, looking for the flank. I can't tell if there was a slam in there. It looks like there had to be.
And Kestel does a hard 3 right there. He did do a slam. He did a 3 bank slam right there.
Yeah, I just don't see a weapons disable token on which is fine. Turn 1.
And barrels back. Vermeil, ailerons 1 forward to a bump, and then 1 forward to a bump. Jonas pulls a 2 forward. And it looks like Will is checking out his cards right there on the opposing side.
Grabbing a lock somewhere. Probably on... I don't see any... does the pod have jam capability? Yes, it does. So Will's got to watch out for Rose's jams.
And I believe that is the idea here, is that jamming the lock will allow him to, if he does get jammed by Rose, to sort of block that. GI takes a hard 1 and takes a focus token.
Weirdly not going for the same tactic for his other ships to protect them all from the jams. wonder if his head is all the way, if he's all the way there, or if he was just doing some range checky stuff with that block.
I think maybe there's a little bit of range check, but it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see where he heads next. And then we're back to Dial. So to finish our conversation about Will's list, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of heat if you keep Kestel and Jonas together, right? Obviously, there's lots of rerolls to sort of offer.
Oh, I actually see the mods that I was missing before. Jonas's ability, while a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 performs a torpedo or missile attack, you may reroll up to 2 dice. So Kestel and Jonas, Kestel with barrage and Jonas flying together with his own barrage is just a solid, like, yeah, we got mods. Like, what are you gonna do about it?
Absolutely. And Vermeil obviously can provide support, obviously change that focus to a hit if he's able to peel away. I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing Vermeil shoot last in this list. It just seems to make sense. If you calculate the dice, that's a lot of dice to be throwing each turn, right?
Yeah.
On average, what is that? 3, 6, 9, and then potentially, if right with Grand Inquisitor, not 11 dice on a normal turn. Potentially more if they're range 1 with Vermeil or Grand Inquisitor. It's kind of there's a lot of heat to bring. Not to mention he's got thermal detonators just waiting in the wings, just in case he starts to joust.
Yep. The thermal detonators on the TIE Bomber are interesting because with Nimble Reroll, if you drop a device using a straight template, you can use a bank template of the same speed instead. Meaning, especially with thermal detonators, 1 straight and 2 straight options, those bombs can go a lot of places. So this is to me, this looks like a really solid joust list for Willie. While Joel has an invested interest in doing some flybys. I don't think Joel too much minds Rose and Nimi too much, like going down the throat, as long as Kaz and Chewbacca are on the side doing their work. Because I think this is a place where Joel knows he's going to have to trade something early to get the position he wants to control the end game, while with calling that bump on Vermeil as opposed to sending Vermeil right down the tube and claiming a lane, makes me think that Willie is looking at that Alpha Strike and hoping to get something off the board before it's too much of a problem.
I imagine that, if I were Will, that I would prioritize Kazuda, just because having him on your flank, just letting him just peel away, even if it's a little bit, even though he may not even have a reroll, I think that is a sort of dangerous thing to let sit, especially late game. And obviously with Chewbacca, I mean, do you shoot him first, or do you try to sort of make sure that you get somebody who's out of his range to sort of let him double tap?
I sort of feel like this is a position where whatever choice you want is not the choice here. I feel like the control over the choice here with the lists on display is limited. Nimi is obviously given Nimi's position. Nimi will be in the firing range for Chewbacca. Does that mean you open with a Solo and Nimi and then pivot to Chewbacca without finishing her off? Chewbacca's defenses are weaker than he looks, even though with Rey on hand, to be an effectively kind of an advanced optics, like a small, either an automatic evade or an automatic hit once per round. That's okay. I'm sort of looking at Chewbacca's thread tracers here. I'm wondering when they'll come into play. Although it would let him bank into it would let Chewbacca bank into this lane right here, open with the focused thread tracer shot to boost these other ships. And but I still worry about Chewbacca's defense in the long run. And if he gets melted
I imagine Joel. Yeah, I imagine Joel will not sort of keep him. And it looks like we're starting. Looks like
3 straight and focus for Nimi, which is a great move. So Joel has decided to claim the lane and not hesitate in this opposition. A smooth 3 straight for Rose. Going for the focus. I'm surprised he didn't double calculate there. Because that's what opens Rose's potential up, is the fact that she has eyeball mods for offense and defense with that double calculate. So I hope he's remembering what his list is capable of. Kazuda came in with a 2 bank, or maybe it wasn't a 2 bank, but he slammed into position. Weapons disabled unless he exposes that 1 damage card. So what are you doing, Joel? Are you going to expose your damage card? Nope, he's kept weapons disabled. Great. Tight formation with Chewie. And if he takes a focus, he'll be able to fire that thread tracer.
I imagine that's the only thing you want to do at this point, is to take that focus. Or he might test range to see where he's at.
Or he's rotating his arc because he wants the Leia mod or the
Mhm.
Rey mod, not Leia. So he'd win for the red rotate, which will limit where that Falcon can go next turn. It means it doesn't, because he made that choice, the Falcon has less great options turning out. So he's committed to the lane.
And Kestel reveals, oh, one bank takes a focus. Jonas goes one forward. And I imagine, I think if he doesn't pull Jonas back at this point, it might sort of put him in an awkward spot. I wonder if he'll barrel back or if he'll take just the focus.
I'm curious if the distance between Kestel and Jonas is range 1 right now, because right now I'm looking at that Kestel-Kaz firing line and going, oh boy, if...
and that's what I thought.
Answer my question.
He's going for the barrel, because that just seems to make sense that you could sort of line the shot up on that.
Kestel now can totally knock some hits into Kaz. Very very cost free. And this is about to get worse for Kaz, because I bet that Grand Inquisitor has nothing to lose by focus boosting.
And there we are, right there, with a 5 forward, peeling away, getting that flank early.
This looks bad for Kaz, I'll say that.
It's still early. He's got that range, but he doesn't have any mods. And Vermeil still hasn't gone yet. Wait, hold on.
Vermeil made a bump. He did a bump maneuver to keep Vermeil back there.
He's still set. Hold on.
Oh, you're right. They didn't move Vermeil. Did they forget?
Hasn't moved. I'm going to let them know.
Well, we both. Well, yeah, it affects things.
Yep.
He just got so excited for Joneson for that Kazuda shot right there.
Yeah, he got so excited that I think he forgot about Vermeil.
I'm really surprised he
and then
rammed.
Cool. And then we rammed again.
Yep. So now Vermeil is just rammed into Jonas.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that Joel dropped Kaz out so far.
I was surprised that on that slam, I would have maybe peeled a little bit farther out. But then you're really leaving Kazuda out in the cold if you keep on slamming on the outer edge of the board, right? Yeah. Then he's got no way to sort of ever make it back in time. Plus, he might be outmaneuvered, arc dodged by Grand Inquisitor easily.
Yeah. Looks like I see Grand Inquisitor spending a force. I think it's to deny a range bonus or add it. No,
to add the range bonus.
He's adding the range 1 bonus.
And that's
but for only 1 hit.
Only 1 hit?
I don't know if the attack is obstructed or not. I didn't see the... Oh, it says chat says Kaz is at range 3, not obstructed. So Kaz just needs that 1 evade. Cool, great, Kaz. You spent all your evades too early. Now you're about to miss them if Kestel has that job.
Well, let's see if Kestel might be just a little too far out.
Mr. Rocker Crocker is advising us to remember that we need to put a damage card on Kaz on the overlay. Don't know if that's been set up yet. Kestel has no shot, which means we are idiots for not guessing about Joel's genius. Because I really thought, just eyeballing that Kestel totally could
pull that in.
Plink Kaz real quick. All right, so that round is done. We're lining up as everyone's getting set up for the next round. Let's look at the best positions here. So do we think Kaz's job here is to actually brawl with them, or 3 forward, 3 straight bank to try and block a dive by Kestel?
I would say that Kaz here is the best thing that he can do if Joel's playing it right, is he's going to use him as bait. And so, obviously, you want to sort of keep on baiting, and then, like you said, hit and run. I would take off with Kaz, and if I get a shot, I get a shot. If not, I mean, obviously, I can sort of pull out. right there.
Mhm.
I have a feeling that we're just gonna see Nimi, Rose back there, and Chewbacca just slow roll it until they have all the right shots. I don't think we're going to see them move forward. I wouldn't be surprised if Joel plays a little bit more defensively here with Kaz instead of aggressively.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, at this point, it's just sort of setting that trap for Kaz. I think has to be Will's priority, right?
Yeah. I'm sort of wondering where Rose goes right now because I'm looking at this approach, and while this was like, did a great job clearing the first cloud, if Rose needs friends in her arcs to get the rerolls, and if she goes straight, she's onto the cloud and losing her actions. If she turns, she's losing her shots and keeping her friends in her. Well, as long as her enemies have her friends in their firing arc, she's okay. But
She might be able to coordinate some actions to Kaz if she does bank in, leaving
Yeah.
that open just in case, right? Depending on what these guys do. If they block
Yeah.
off the pass right here, I mean, there's some options because right now, I mean, once she banks, she'll be in range to coordinate whoever she wants. Obviously, she won't have any information to coordinate. But we'll see how this sort of plays out.
Yep.
So let's talk about our prize structure for all our participants. Just a reminder to everybody that everything that you see on this board, our special stream table created by Mr. Rocker Crocker himself, who's reminding us on the stream overlay. The 207 Lobster digital tokens, if you've seen those locks on the board, those were designed by Rocker Crocker, and all our participants will also receive a physical version of that as well. You've seen focus tokens on the table and evade tokens, and all of our participants will also be receiving that. And I'm not sure if Alex can show you, but we have special moose shields on the table, which our players will also receive a copy. The lock tokens were created by our own 207 squad moderator, Zach Smith, and painted by Matt Congdon. So cheers to them. I'm really looking forward to seeing them. And then our focus, evade, and moose shields were created by Andrew Knuckles from Curled Paw. So, we can see those shield tokens on the table. Yeah. We're also handing out, big honkin' shield token. We're also handing out digital damage decks that you see on the side right here on the stream table. And we're also handing out Hera A-Wing and B-Wing flip cards. That's pretty exciting. As well as Alt Arts of Cutthroat, Disciplined, and Hopeful as well. So there's a lot of participation prizes. We wanted to make sure that everybody felt warm and welcome for our first outing on TTS. And it looks like all dials have been set by players.
Big turn.
Wait a minute. Seems like Vermeil has turned off his thing, and so has Chewbacca. Yeah. And it looks like Will's still deciding on Vermeil. Looks like Vermeil is set. Looks like Chewbacca is set. And we are ready to go.
All right, this is going to be a big turn that'll definitely shape the direction of the rest of the game. So let's see what shape it takes.
And looks like Joel's still debating over Nimi right there, which I could feel. I mean, obviously, Nimi is right in front here, is going to get some heat no matter what, I imagine.
Yeah, with Nimi, I'm like, are you like? It's a question of what direction. I guess what direction she's pointing, because her best move, no matter what, is to go fast. And so I think you're looking at either a 3-bank or a 4-bank for Nimi. And so, but I hope the indecisiveness on Joel's part is more of a. I hope he's not doubting his instincts, and I hope he's not getting too worried about what happens to Nimi, because this is the brawl no matter what. In this kind of phase, you just trust the ship.
Seems like we're experiencing some kind of glitch right here.
Glitch in the CTS.
Yep, and there we are. There's that 4 forward that you called, Brian.
Yep. Which means Nimi is right in the thick of it. Depending on how fast Jonas went, although I don't think Jonas went too fast. Could see some bumping. I don't think this is great for Vermeil. I think Inquisitor, unless he does that one turn left, I think Inquisitor is a little bit out, so we'll see what happens.
And Rose Tico does a hard 2.
Yep, you called the coordinate. I thought she might do the hard 2 to get the coordinate, but I didn't say it out loud. But yeah, you're right. Although, what would you coordinate here to Nimi? What are we looking at?
Absolutely. Let's see what she does. I imagine we'll have some sort of reposition, but we'll see what happens with Nimi.
We're looking at a lock?
And a
Boost?
boost.
A boost. That's bold.
And when in doubt, joust. Potentially, here's the other thing. I think that it's likely that he's also pulled off a block on Jonas.
I think that unless Jonas does a 1 straight, that's looking blocky.
And
All right, Kaz
Kaz
rolls
goes
in.
3 forward.
We know Kaz is going to get to shoot Jonas. Chewie. Yeah, Chewie's. Oh,
Flies
Chewie
2,
landed on
goes
the
straight forward.
cloud.
Lands on the cloud, unfortunately.
Roll
And
the crit, but that does nothing for the strain, so Chewie's still in a good spot to just throw 3 dice with a Ray Force token to mod 1 die, no matter what. Not to mention, if a ship somehow dies here, Chewie would get that second red action.
And Will starts with Jonas, who does a 1 bank, clears it. Incredible, but is in Nimi's face.
I wanted to say that a 1 bank might fit. I was nervous if I was wrong. I didn't want to be that wrong about that, but just want Oh,
And
Jonas has
clearly
chosen-
sets up a barrel.
Jonas has chosen the arc dodge. Interesting.
And it
He has to
depends
deal with a
really
Kaz.
on where. Yeah, has to deal with Kaz, but Vermeil can still coordinate him if he
Oh
so
yeah.
desires.
Well, if Vermeil doesn't get caught in Bump World, because Vermeil has to do that 1 straight first and then go somewhere else.
Or has to go. Depends on what they decided to do with Vermeil.
Yeah.
He can also roll sideways, force a bump, and then
Also, it looks like Will is trying to figure out the linked lock because I saw his hand hovering. But nope, now Vermeil's moving.
yep, and he goes 1 forward, and it looks like he does 1 forward to a bump on Nimi.
That's not great for Vermeil because Nimi has that. If Nimi's got that focus token right there, which means
And
Vermeil's ability will not kick in.
And Kessel goes 1 forward. Grand Inquisitor does a 2 bank. Clearly boosts and takes a focus.
Interesting. Just making sure Grand Inquisitor's doing some stuff instead of sitting this one out. All right.
And I wonder if he's got Kaz. Kaz is just out. That's unfortunate.
But Rose, Rose is looking pretty strong defensively because Grand Inquisitor has Chewbacca in the firing arc, which Rose's ability is worded a little weirdly, which means on defense it doesn't matter who she's looking at, it's who the enemy is looking at. But all right, so we're getting 3 dice with the a little soft for that opening salvo from Inquisitor, burning the second force to keep his focus token and try and get 2 into Rose.
And it looks like there's nothing. Let's see what
1 reroll
reroll.
for Chewbacca. So there's damage.
And
Token.
there's a token.
What's this die doing? Where did that reroll come from? Does Rose have heroic? Oh yeah, she's got heroic.
Yep.
So that was always queued up. So that was just some silliness. That was some heroic heroic Rose ability silliness. And yeah, wait, if you only have blank results and have 2 or more results, you may reroll and review dice.
And it looks like we're on to Chewbacca next. And so Chewbacca is deciding on.
If I was Chewie, I would definitely take that.
Looks
Yeah,
like we're
I would lay.
shooting at Vermeil. And so 3.
Oh.
Ooh, brutal. Just got that force. Will he spend Ray?
Yeah, I think you spend it just to
Spend it.
See if those 2 dice.
And
Wanna
Vermeil is fine.
Sort of a weak opening salvo there for both players. No one's putting damage through yet. Kaz. Oh, it's Jonas is at range 3, so good roll on Jonas's part.
And then again at Vermeil. And
Hit,
2
crit.
hits and a crit naturally. And Vermeil rolls for 1 evade, at least, keeping him from that crit just with 2 shields.
Joel's off to a good start. I think that was the right call, even with the obstructed shot, because it was either 3 into 3 or 3 into 2.
I think it's interesting that they both focused on, they were able to both sort of hit the support ship right out the
Yeah.
gate.
So, yeah, this is a decent spot for Jonas. If he just, oh no, yeah, it looks like he's eyeing. It's either 2 into 2 against Chewie, but with no force, or 3 into 2 against Nimi, but with that focus token. And not a lot of mods for Jonas.
The lock was on the
Cloud, yeah.
cloud. For a moment, I thought that he had rolled into a barrel into a lock, but apparently not so. So Jonas
Crit,
rolls 2 crits. And
I think Nimi
this is huge.
you gotta let it go through. Yep.
And lets it go through.
You gotta deny Vermeil that mod.
And then Vermeil.
Yeah. Heck, I think with Nimi right
Range
now,
1.
Nimi's got to hold on to that focus token until it's her turn to shoot.
And brutal nothing shot.
Oh, Will, poor Will on the dice. Those dice were mean to him.
And it looks like Kestel's up next.
Kestel's like, all right, it's Barrage Rockets time, you jerks. Oh, this would be a good. I think he should shoot Chewie. I think he should shoot Chewie. Is he gonna shoot Kaz? Looks like
I think Kaz poses. Let's see. I'm not sure who we decided on. And spends the focus on 3.
if he's shooting Kaz, that's fine. Oof, that's 2 on Kaz. I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's 2 on Kaz, and that puts Kaz at half right there.
Yep.
So there's 3 dice right there. 4, actually.
I don't know what's going on with this damage card that they just dragged aside, because I think that was one intended for Kaz's
crit. Yeah. But so that's 4. So that means that obviously Kaz doesn't get that bonus anymore.
Yep.
On his attack roll.
Rose's shot and 3 damage. Kaz should still have his bonus against all these ships because he's only taking 3 damage.
Oh, he's only taking 3 damage?
Yeah.
With explosion with wings?
Yep, that's correct. Because he only just took 2.
He only took 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, even trade. Rose into Grand Inquisitor. It was natties on both sides.
And Nimi for the big throw.
Yeah, chat seems to think it's 4 on Kaz. I'm only seeing 3. The big throw on. Oh,
and that's a huge throw. And let's see what happens to Vermeil here.
Vermeil gets
nothing.
That's hit crit on Vermeil. So what crit is coming up? What do we think? Is it fuel leak? Is it panicked?
I have no idea. It's almost impossible to tell. Let's see. And we've got disabled power regulator, which is possibly the best thing that could happen because it is a medium-based ship. So
that means Vermeil is definitely halved right now and only has 2 health left. So the Joel picked that boost, and I think the game is definitely in Joel's favor right now, with Vermeil being near death. Kaz still has this bonus, and Nimi only traded 2 shields for that. And Chewie is just there waiting to be the cleanup crew. Denying Jonas that the fully modded, or denying Jonas the modded munitions attack was big and absolutely the right call on Joel's part. I'm not sure Jonas should have rolled. I think if Jonas had stayed there and focused,
but I do, I feel that. I also feel like though it represents a big points bastion for Will right here, right? If he lets Nimi roll into Jonas, and Jonas only rolls 2 dice, I mean, I'd imagine he expected to bump with Vermeil, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do with Chewbacca here. Because obviously Joel's got initiative, and
So I'll point
so
out one other thing
Mhm.
about Jonas's position. Jonas is not in a great bombing spot right now compared to where if he hadn't rolled. I think in Jonas's old position, he could have reliably dropped that 2-bank bomb and threatened and forced Nimi to go on a long walk around the board, while the rest of the Imperials closed in. But now that 2-bank is only going to drop somewhere behind Vermeil's current position, and a 3-turn from Nimi or a 3 Talon could easily get her out of the way of that space. He might still try it because Nimi's actually not we're between this debris cloud, Kestel's current position. Nimi's got to do a long walk to get out of the way of it. But if I was if I was Will right now, I would definitely try and get that bomb out, try and ping Nimi or get her into not being an offensive threat next turn, and then maybe either use Vermeil as a Chewie's going to move first, so can't actually block, but then try and get Vermeil out of the way from dying this turn.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Kaz is going to be too helpful here in this turn. I think the best thing Kaz can do is sort of reposition. But we'll see how slow he goes, because otherwise he's threatened by Kestel, just who's going to slowly roll up. GI is obviously going to sort of try to take the flank, I imagine,
Yeah.
instead of trying to turn in.
Yeah.
It really just depends on where Rose goes, what Rose is going to do here to sort of coordinate and help out.
Rose is basically locked into that one bank. I think Rose is locked into that one bank.
Absolutely.
One straight doesn't do her any good. And if she banks, she's going to get a coordinate off. I bet Kaz can't roll, so it might be a matter of focusing Kaz or focusing Chewie, so that Chewie can do whatever bump stuff is needed.
I think Chewie needs to have a fully modded shot on this turn, at least on some level, like at least a lock or a focus, just because he's going to be rolling 4 dice at someone. It's just a matter of who, unless, Will decides to purposely bump everybody and bump Chewbacca as much as possible.
Mr. Rocker Crocker points out that Granted the Quizzer needs to be the hero, which means Rose might actually roll up and just try and jam GI, which would be a good move, and it would also be a real, Will, you could have locked onto something back there when you were back at your side. Instead, you gave them permission to jam you, which would be a nice, remember how jam works when you're, at the top table. But also, Will made it to the top table, so he already did a lot of good. Mistakes happen at every game level.
It'll be interesting to see if Joel does jam at this point, or if Joel coordinates. It'd be a smart move.
I think also Joel might be so confident with Nimi over here. I think Nimi might just do a 4K. Because I don't think any of these ships are on track.
And it would clear the bombs.
I think she might do a 4K. She might hit that bomb. So the 2-bank, the 2-bank might hit Nimi, but if it's only one bomb, that's fine. Nimi's fine. I think she would brave. I think Joel has shown that aggressiveness is working out well, and I think trading that 1 damage for Nimi to be in a flanking position on these very key pieces is a pretty smart. It's a good place to be. I don't think actually he needs to send Nimi on a long walk around the board.
I am really fascinated by where Vermeil is going to go. I mean, what do you do to sort of keep him at least mildly alive? I mean, he will have the opportunity to shoot no matter what. But at best, he's bumping. At worst, he gets tons of shots. I mean, the idea for me is if only one ship is able to shoot him, then he stands a chance to survive. But we'll see how this goes, and we're set. As you called it, Nimi does a 4K right there.
No system phase, no bomb?
No bomb.
I think you should have just dropped that bomb.
I think it was
all the ships were clearing, and there's a lot of charges on that bomb.
I'm not sure about that, because I think you still have some space between it. I wouldn't be confident to drop that bomb. I think you want to get Chewbacca on this next round right here.
You
And
got
it
four
looks
bombs
like,
in the reload.
yeah, Rose pulls in and
Rose did a coordinate somewhere. Oh, coordinated a red rotate for Chewie.
mhm.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. Yep, that's working out pretty well. Kaz banked him for the 3 straight and is slamming into a Talon. Is he going to expose one of those cards? Or is he just going to take weapons disabled? All right, it's exposing time. Means Will gets to choose. Will a fun crit come up? We're trying to get a shuffle going. Got that in-law internet, maybe slowing things down a slight bit.
And we'll see how that goes. And
Direct hit.
brutal! It is
Oh.
a direct hit.
That shuts down Kaz's
Ability. I get
That's
except
it.
against GI, perhaps. Yeah.
Yep, it's got to be. Yep, so it's good against GI, granting prisoner, and that's it.
And let's see what Jonas does at this point.
It's interesting. You called earlier as Kaz being the one protect. I think Joel saw it the exact opposite. Kaz is the one to sacrifice.
I would always argue that Kaz is always the one to protect, but it's interesting.
Like,
I
if
guess
you watch
this is
the
the
show,
turn.
he's a little annoying. He's got that annoying kids show protagonist thing going for him. Maybe you should just be knocked off forward. Okay, so we did the red
And
rotate.
mhm.
Brought Chewie in. Okay, so he's guessing that no one's going to be in that front arc at range 1. Probably right.
Depends on,
Kestel and GI will look like soft targets.
and let's see what Jonas does at this point, or Kestel does. Rolls 1.
Yep, that's an easy choice. Easy choices for... Man, Joel has just done a really big job shutting down Will's munitions, like, this game. Like, absolutely not in the position. It's almost making me look at this and go, yeah, I think Will should have been more aggressive to get that first barrage pair. I think he should have put more effort into keeping the Jonas brothers together here, Jonas and Kestel.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting, though, is that obviously Joel's really sort of pulling that sort of immediate right punch. Let's see where Vermeil ends up. Bumps, and then does a bump.
Oh!
And he does a double bump. Interesting.
And he had the option to do that either way, right? Like, he could have moved Joel. That is not when that ion token goes down. Yeah, he could have moved Jonas first and cleared the way for Mail, or by keeping it here, he's only got one shot. Nimi's
He goes
the only one with a
one
shot.
forward. Yep.
Could keep Vermeil alive if Nimi rolls badly. Jonas with the one forward. Would I roll luck here? I'm worried about... Well, Kaz's bonus is gone, so I'm not that scared of getting shot by Kaz. Chewie can't... Oh, no, Chewie could totally... I would roll just to try and dodge Chewie's right firing arc.
And he just takes a focus.
I think here's the thing. I don't know if he can clear that, or if it would just dump him on the other side of Chewie. Yeah, that might be the bigger problem. So he's just got to focus. And
obviously a 3.
Oh, obviously, I thought he would do the one turn.
No, I imagined he was going to flank. I mean, obviously with Vermeil getting sort of pulled out, now you're behind Chewie. Chewie's got to spend that stress to sort of turn it around.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously Rose has difficulty turning around at this point. And so then you can concentrate on what you're going to do with Nimi next.
All right, but it's Chewie's time. It's Chewie's. It's the Wookiee. The Wookiee gets to win for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like Chewie's going to shoot at Jonas range 1.
That's the right call.
And it looks like one hit and a crit.
Yep, that's 3 and a crit because Rose and the focus. Or not Rose, Ray and the focus token.
Yep,
just get
absolutely.
Yep, got to roll 2.
Hopefully Jonas plays through that. And that's 1 evade.
So hit crit on Jonas, which halves the Jonas bro.
And structural damage, which is not the end of the world when you're a bomber like so.
3 health with to this with Kaz and Nemi on hand to throw dice at you, 3 dice at you apiece. I think that's terrible. I think
We'll see how
Jonas
this
is
goes. Oh,
2 hits.
brutal.
So that's 1
Unmodded, 2
damage.
hits. At least
So it's
one.
At least 1 damage.
Jonas can still live,
Nope.
but still
2
lives.
hits. So Nemi's probably going to go and try and knock Jonas down this turn, and that would deny the bombs, the missiles, the whole 9 yards. Although Discipline would trigger for everyone else, but I don't think that's... Joel seems to be like... Joel's just picking the right targets here.
And so Jonas obviously has a range 1 shot.
Only a focus token Amada, and I don't know if you even spend it, because if you're desperate to not die to Nemi. Alright, 2 hits. Does he spend it?
He does
Spends
spend it.
And that's 3 for Chewie.
3 for Chewie.
Heals down, 8 hole to go on that big... on the Falcon. Alright, so that was Jonas's opening shot. Now, or that was Jonas's opening shot. Looks like Vermeil is teeing up.
And it
Oh,
looks
it's
like
range
he's got
2.
range 2.
Vermeil's
Oof.
ability will kick in, so he can either try and finish Kaz off, which is not that unlikely. 2 crits. Oh, do it. Remember your ability. Remember your trigger. Turn it to a hit.
And it looks he does.
It's Kaz defending.
And that is 1
That is a dead Kaz.
Kaz.
That's
Getting
a
some
hit, crit,
points
crit
on the board.
Kaz. Disable power regulator. Another one of those out of the deck. And direct hit. Another direct hit out of the deck.
So
Will made the right shooting choice. So something interesting's happened, which is that Kaz has gone down faster than I thought.
And Kestel, has Kestel shot yet?
Kestel's about to shoot. Will is gonna lose Jonas or Vermeil this turn if Nemi gets all hits.
But Nemi doesn't have a focus, right?
No, but it's 3 dice, so hits will show up. Calling it right now. Kestel fucked it up there. Oh nope, there's a lock. There's a mod of some kind.
And it looks like
Oh, where's this attack? This is for Nemi onto
Jonas. And so Jonas gets 1 evade, and Jonas is dead.
Oh, it's the Chewie death attack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we traded. Yeah, I forgot about the Chewie death attack.
Mm-hmm. The Chewie death attack.
Nemi could finish Vermeil off.
Yep.
And that just leaves Grand Inquisitor and Kestel to try and clean up this mess. Yep. So now Disciplined goes off this kill. So everyone gets to take a lock action, except Grand Inquisitor is stressed. So that's why I don't think it was worth it for Inquisitor to take that focus. I was sitting there going like, why are you stressing? So
I'll be interested to see.
Oh, interesting. So now Kestel has a lock on Chewie, which will fully mod Kestel's attack, which could have Chewie. How much do you need to do? 11? No, 11 health means you need to do 6 damage. Yeah, so Kestel could get 3 into Chewie. That
could get 3, and then Vermeil gets a lock.
Doesn't help Vermeil out a lot because Nemi's sitting right there saying, "I'm gonna do it, boss. I'm gonna do it." Yep. These are the best decisions. This just turned into more of a straight joust for Joel. Like it's a Joel-friendly joust.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens next turn. Obviously, it stinks that Jonas doesn't have bombs to sort of drop off next turn. And spends the reroll, and then has 3 hits coming in.
That's 3 on Chewie. That's half on Chewie.
I think this was rather a productive round. And Mr. Rocker Crocker says, I want to know if that Vermeil roll could have been an arc dodge.
Which Vermeil roll?
You mean I think he meant Jonas rolling.
Oh, if Jonas had rolled right.
Rolled right.
Given the position given that he nicked the left side and given the size of a large base, I think the problem is that like the space that a roll would have done, I think it would have just nicked the other side.
It'd been a
Jonas.
really close game.
It would have
So
lowered it would have reduced Kaz's output into that. So as I'm sitting here going like, this is why I wish he dropped the bomb that turn, because you didn't know once you see the bomb opportunity, you gotta take. Although I guess he would have bombed Vermeil. Vermeil would have taken that damage necessarily. So now got some organizing going on.
it'll be interesting to see where they head next at this point, right? Obviously, Rose doesn't have a shot. And it looks like
So charge organizing. So is who's Nemi shooting? It's got to be Vermeil, right? I could see trying to shoot Kestel and just starting to work the end game, but if you get those 2 hits through on Vermeil, who's going to be ionized next turn? Yeah, math. Yeah, that's math. That's just math. The tyranny of math.
And it looks like, in terms of points, I'm wondering right now, just 2. And I think that might be enough.
Oh, that's it for Vermeil. I saw that evade try and come up, but Grand Inquisitor has to do a lot of work to pull this out. Because Kestel is about to become Nemi and Chewie's favorite punching bag. Joel made the exact right trade.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I mean, obviously, what do you do with Kestel at this point? Do you just keep on laying the fire down, or do you just keep on, arc dodge at this point? At this point, it really is about sort of Will being an arc dodger, being AC. He's got that initiative 5 to sort of arc dodge to get out of dodge. He's obviously stressed here, but I imagine if I were Chewbacca at this point, I would be hard turning the other direction.
I will say, I think we're heading for another coordinate rotate. I think we're heading for another coordinate rotate Chewie so that Chewie can advance safely. Or it's some shenanigans so that Chewie sloops to keep the pressure on these two. I will say I've come back from a worse situation this in the tournament. With worse ships than what Will is dealing with. Grand Inquisitor has the potential to do a lot of harm, especially since he took that off turn to recover the force. But Kestel is just such a sitting duck right now. Nemi can comfortably chase him. Rose might even 2-turn just to put pressure on him. While Joel just does a reset turn. Kestel, I'm sort of sitting here looking at Kestel's build and wondering why there isn't a turret there. Even a dorsal turret. Dorsal turret would let Kestel use her ability. Like, it just gives you that side arc and lets you do some comfortable rolls to get shots that your opponents aren't necessarily like they're not the most highest hitting shots, but they're there, they matter. This is what made aggressors so strong last year and took them all the way to the top at GSP's tournaments, was that turret slot, and it was traded here for the attempt to synergize the Jonas.
It's that typical Barrage Rockets dorsal turret sort of combo that you expect.
Yeah.
I wonder if, he sacrificed the thermal detonators, right?
I think
the dorsal turret for the thermal detonators.
I think if your goal was to keep Vermeil ramming in the back of Jonas, you absolutely trade the detonators for that and get yourself that turret.
Mm.
But I think, it's chassis war, which means no one had any. I mean, I'm guessing Joel has some experience with these ships given the way he's flying them. And they're just pretty comfortable in this list, but these when you're down to these restrictions and you've already burned some of your better chassis and you're coming to endgame going, well, I hope this Kestel combo being an ace, it's a good ace shutdown, but you're denied the alpha strike and you don't get to play with your toys, and then now you have to spend the rest of your game quietly picking off. He's got to score a lot of points in 27 minutes and not give up too many.
I would say that, honestly, if I were Kestel right at this point, I would probably pursue Rose. Rose might be the easiest combo depending on what happens. And he's got time to sort of decide how to sort of deal with that, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, so we're moving. Nemi did a 3 straight. focus to threaten Grand. Definitely a threat to Grand Inquisitor. Definitely
Absolutely.
come at me, bro. Rose. 2-turn. Yep. I thought that might happen. Just the straight, like, okay. I'm probably just still not going to shoot things, but she gets.
Keeps that stress.
But that fucks up Kestel's. Kestel is now in a less happy spot. Chewy. What's going on with Chewy? Was it dial not set for Chewy? I have questions. Was it screwed up dial set?
There's a screwed up dial. It flipped to a blank. So
Oh, yeah.
does a hard 2. And that's kind of what I expected.
Which means Kestel's doing okay.
With a range 1 shot on.
Oof, yeah, but if Kestel has a range 1 shot on Rose, then Rose has a range 1 shot on Kestel, and that's a terrible. That's gonna be great offensively for Rose. And Grand Inquisitor, you gotta evade. Gotta evade right here. I really hope Grand Inquisitor and base, because that's how you get this game back. Because 3 dice, evade. You got 2 force, just plink your 2 dice out and huddle down. Get your defensive options together, and then let Nimi try to catch.
I mean, but the focus can have the same sort of percentage of accuracy. If he rolls double focuses, I mean, obviously he's got the force right here.
With 2 force, I would go for the evade just to cover the blanks.
Yeah, just
With
to cover
2
the
3
blanks.
dice attacks when me and I have 2 force, it's just evade and huddle, and just try and plink Chewy a little bit, or Nimi. Make Nimi spend that focus or deny, like keep the focus and trade damage.
Yeah, I would try to deprive Nimi of that and maybe sort of get to half, because Nimi's only what, 2 away from half.
Yeah, you could natty 2 hits into Nimi. Nimi rolls blank focus, and then it's either half on
Or
Nimi
spend the turn doing thread tracers so that you're set up for next turn.
Oh, win for the focus.
Mhm.
Thread tracers, I just don't think is that. It's not going for an attack. What I'm hoping Will's not, like, oh shit, I lost 2 ships. Like I'm feeling down. Like I hope that's not where he's at, and is like, I'm just gonna play aggressive. Like I think.
Oh, he's gonna play aggressive. He's playing
spending a
aggressive.
force.
He spends the force.
Yeah.
And it somewhat pays off. He spends his other force
You'd have to
for
spend
a
the
hit
force.
crit.
They'll shove a crit into Chewy. Yeah, just this is what happens. Is one crit on Chewy really gonna be worth the? He's only
It
got a
could
focus
be.
token holding his 2 attack. Oh, he's taking the hit crit because yeah.
And
Wounded
so
pilot. After you perform an action, roll an attack die on a hit or crit, gain a stress. Chewy doesn't care. Chewy's
well, I mean, obviously he doesn't care unless he gets another shot in.
So Will's got to roll really good defensive dice to have this turn not suck.
He has 3, but 3v3. The advantage is definitely on Chewy's side right here.
Chewy and Nimi together. That's the onslaught I'm worried for. Because Chewy was just like, screw you, I'm taking damage, because now his attack's fully modded. He needs to blank out for that damage push to be really worth it. Because that Nimi attack's going to come in with at least 1. Yeah, that's 3 hits. It's exactly that bad looking roll is exactly what Chewy wanted. And that's what did I say? What did I say? Now
and
Inquisitor,
that's a brutal green dice.
Yep. I think
And so 2 shields down, and we'll see how this goes. Obviously, Nimi gets a range bonus here, but still has the focus. Actually, sorry, it's Kestel range 1.
Kestel's trying to get some hit on Rose, this is Rose at her weakest right now. So
and perfect. Exactly
Hit
what you
crit.
need to potentially take Rose down.
If Rose blanks out,
nope.
Hit crit. Okay, so Rose lives. The crit that comes out is damage engine,
which can be pretty brutal on a ship that already can't really move that far. But I don't think there's anybody threatening her potentially that much next turn.
That is half on Rose, which means Will keeps putting points on the board, which is the absolute right thing. But now Nimi, this is just...
Yeah.
Where did, let's see, Grand Inquisitor took what, 2 damage there? He spent this, He had to spend this focus token. His focus
No,
token should be gone.
he spent his final force, did he not?
He spent the force on offense. He spent 1 to get the die, 1 to mod the shot.
Oh,
What is this
okay.
focus token doing here? That should not be there. All right, so that was 2 hits. This is a Rose into Kestel shot. All
And
right, 1 hit on Kestel.
which is reasonable.
I'm just dropping in chat, reminding them about GI's focus. Yep, I remembered. I got it. So Nimi with hit crit. That's it.
Well, we'll see. Unless it's natties.
Unless it's or not even all natties, just 3 evades.
And
Holy
pulls
shit!
it out.
Oh, that's why I love X-Wing.
And pulls it out
Oh,
to live another day.
So Will just chose violence and was rewarded for it, and now Grand Inquisitor has to like.
I think in Will's position right now, all he could do is play spoiler, right? So he might as well choose violence and have fun with it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. If I was going to choose violence there, I would have chosen violence on Nimi because Chewbacca's already halved and is a long way from death with these 2 dice, maybe 3 dice attacks occasionally. But they're not, like Chewie's not going to Chewie just is going to always have these choices. Let's see, that's like what 3 health left? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 health left on Chewie. Such a long way down on Nimi. If I was choosing violence, I would have made bully Nimi into half points and made Joel put some sweat on Joel. Let's see.
I think
okay.
at this point, Kestel has no choice but to turn around if he wants to even be back in it.
Yeah, Kestel probably just has a K turn coming up. There's really unless Nimi turns into threat and Kestel. Kestel's happy just turning around, being out of it for a turn, and then. So Grand Inquisitor's got to get the heck out of Dodge right now, though. So I wonder how he's going to. Oh, I see a safe move for Inquisitor. I really hope Inquisitor turns around the cloud with a big old 3 turn.
I would imagine and sort of lay some threat on Rose. I can only imagine Rose is going to do perhaps a 1 of some sort, right?
Yeah, because with that damaged engine, he can't 2-turn to spoil a block and keep Grand Inquisitor out of, or she.
Although Nimi might be able to spoil a block here, and so
I don't think she's. I think Nimi's the worst thing Nimi could, or if Nimi does a 2-turn to the right and Joel. Oh, okay, it's movement time. Yep, there's that 2-turn.
2-turn her to the right, and absolutely potential block depending on what GI does. And looks like Rose is up next.
Yeah, that's also
1 bank clears.
Yep,
and passes
so hard. There's a coordinate going on. Fixing that. Looks like are we fixing that crit on Chewie? Yep. So Chewie is. Yeah, that's solid.
And that seems to make sense.
Ooh. Yeah.
And a boost to protect his back. I love it.
All right. Yep. Joel's got all the options here. So I think we just have a K turn from Kestel.
No, a hard 3. Smart move.
All right. Defensive options for Kestel and ready to. Kestel's gearing up to shoot Chewie next turn. That's looking good. All right, Inky, where'd you go?
Well, it depends on what Kestel does.
I think Kestel's just weighing the roll right now.
Yeah. I think the best thing he can do is keep that. And perhaps, but he can only take the evade if he barrels.
Yeah, focus. Yeah, I would focus just. I would not. I think you want that.
Ooh, and a hard 3 right into Nimi's range.
So the question is it boost focus or is it evade? I think it's boost focus, but then
it's boost focus, but
yeah, boost focus might get you out of Chewie's range.
I honestly probably would have turned towards Chewie for the initiative kill, and then have him suffer through the bonus. But
Chewie has 1 guaranteed evade. You would need to get a direct hit through.
That's true.
Okay, I don't know if I would have boosted. Yeah, well,
I mean, it's a further boost, gets him out of range 1 potentially. Yeah. So,
it's definitely out of range 1,
and it's out of range for Chewbacca.
GI could actually turn on Chewie. I don't believe that. The problem was if he turns in on Chewie, Rose is right there ready to shoot.
That's true.
If that had been the play, that's why I wasn't like that was a kill box for the Inquisitor, and if you're playing an ace like Inquisitor, like you just get out of the kill box. So now it's just does Nimi's ability kick in and let her murder Grand Inquisitor, or does 3 dice and a focus and a force remain what keeps Inky alive?
I mean, obviously, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. Things are literally dicey.
And 2 hits.
That's what Nimi wants, because now make it an eyeball and spend the
Yep,
focus.
and that's 3 hits, and so hopefully we've got some gorgeous evades here again.
It's either all paint or 2 paint for Will to stay in it.
2 paint to stay in it.
1 damage on Inky, no points change. Could have gone worse. I think yeah, Will made the best of a very bad situation there. He got Inquisitor out of the cage. Kestel is revving up that barrage rockets attack on Chewie. Chewie's got to deal with this debris cloud right now. Nimi's ability to hunt Grand Inquisitor may not be great because of that blue 1 turn the Inquisitor has. So even though he's stressed, it's like, okay, you can either go straight, you can either rocket away, or turn out and boost away from Nimi's firing arc. Because Nimi's pretty much locked in on a straight vector unless she decides to 4K and just go, okay, like, I'm probably safe. Time to go hunt Kestel. Rose is absolutely going for, let's see, Rose is stressed again. Nimi's going to get clear, so Rose will be free to just 1 bank and coordinate again. Probably something.
And I mean, Chewbacca has to do a hard 3 at this point, right? Like, that's not a hard 3, excuse me, a straight 3 at this point to clear. Is he stressed? I thought he was stressed for some reason.
Nope.
Oh, he isn't. So, well, yeah, I'd imagine a 3 just to sort of keep Kestel where he needs to be.
Yeah.
It depends on how fancy he gets with Kestel. So, not that Kestel can get too fancy.
Yeah. Will's best hope with Kestel is to get that barrage rockets off. Get 3 natural hits with that focus token, or he's got the target lock on Chewie. So
He's got the target lock on Chewie. So
where did
right?
that lock go?
Did he? No, he spent it.
Oh yeah.
On the reroll when that's a range 1 shot.
So that's 3 natural hits he needs, and then if his focus token is still there, he can cancel all of Chewie's dice as long as it's not an evade. And if it's an evade, Chewie lives. So, but if he's got 3 hits, cancels that result, Chewie's dead. Then he just has to deal with Chewie's return shot, which is not bad. It's not, could be worse. And if Chewie may not get to use his we're moving. Nimi does an aggressive 2 turn. Yep. Joel's figured out that Kestel's gonna have a punch. That's a strain token for Nimi, but I don't think she's bothered unless she's not that bothered unless Grand Inquisitor did the
Part 1.
The 1 turn it can roll in and try to pound the flank.
I love the idea that he's just sort of shifting priorities right here because he knows that Grand Inquisitor can't really lay on any threat being stressed.
You did call the 3. Well, no, you called 3 turn, but 3 straight for Chewie.
3 straight. I meant 3 straight.
Which cleared the debris cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, debris cloud, and then the focus, obviously, because what else?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Basic advanced optics for the Falcon. All right, so Kestel, did you do that 1 bank that I thought you have dialed in?
And he does that 1 bank.
So Nimi's got that. Ooh, might have arc dodged Nimi.
Might have
done it.
But it's doubtful. Right, I'm really not certain at this point.
I mean, if you're choosing violence to be a spoiler. Oh,
and does a hard hoping. 1. And then takes a...
Oh, just roll, my friend, just roll.
Boost, no, to a focus.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I see that.
Right. That's a smart move. I mean, obviously, he's going to lay on some heat. We'll see what happens here.
Nimi's going to get 1 and lose 1 because of the strain. Unless he just focuses it all on Chewie. This is totally... Yeah, I think this is... Oh. Chewie at range 3, if he burns that force and just... Yeah, he's got 1 force on defense. Yeah, this is it. This is totally the right move. Chewie's probably going to die.
And...
Burn the other force. Do it, my friend.
And burns the other force. 2 hits. Let's see what happens. And has to spend something.
Yeah, but that's what he's just lining up that Kestel shot because Chewie's not really worried about getting PS sniped here, so Will's just gotta try and score the kill without giving up Inquisitor in the process.
And spends the force.
Yeah. So that leaves Kestel free and clear to drop barrage rockets in. Except Chewie shoots first.
And shoots at Kestel.
Kestel, he's trying to knock that focus token off or make Kestel pay for keeping
I
it.
can't even imagine why he would ever spend that at this point. He
Yeah.
needs that. He needs that.
Only 2 dice rolled.
I think that was just accidental.
CTS weirdness.
So 2 hits.
Yeah, Kestel is totally happy not spending that focus on 2 hits.
And 1 evade. That's the best sort of scenario that could sort of occur there.
Yep. Kestel deserves props this game. I was a little hard on Kestel earlier for not having that turret, but Kestel is,
and he's got the bullseye for the reroll.
That's everything. That's everything he wants.
And he doesn't even need it. He just spends it. So for 2 hits and a crit, I think this is
if that's
potentially
a blank on Chewie,
yeah.
It's a dead Chewie.
And that is a blank. And that's it for Chewie. But Chewie does get a return shot at this point.
Which is in a red action, which he's cleared to do because he didn't go over that cloud. So that he's Cobb and Will. I'm hoping this crit comes out as a weapons failure. What do we got? Fuel leak. Who cares?
Which is it's not inconsequential. So let's see where.
All right, I'm really admiring Will's boost with Grand Inquisitor right now.
It takes a lock on Kestel.
Yeah, that's because he still has the focus token from before. No, it's not even from a red action, just from an action.
Oh! That is cruel and unusual.
Kestel.
And that is
that's it.
That's a dead Kestel.
Oh, well, that's it. Now GI has to take on a above half Nemi and Rose without getting that one, losing that last health. Oh. Chewie went down swinging. Joel knows this list. Joel knows these ships. It's very clear. I haven't seen
Joel also ran a similar list to this with barrage rockets, with Vinder and Kestel as well. And so he definitely knows his ace counters and he knows how it sort of plays out. At this point, I mean, GI doesn't really have a shot here, right? Like,
it's not, well, with this blue situation, yeah, this is bad for GI, is all I'll say. Mostly because Rose is the piece that's just going to make GI's life hell.
Because where do you go? Nimi's got that strain, but is unstressed.
Nimi is absolutely. I see Nimi doing a 4K and closing off Grand Inquisitor if like a GI straight shot. If Will still has violence on the mind, Will does a 1 bank in and tries to snipe Rose down.
I think you have to snipe Rose down at this point with 8 minutes to go, and then just stay on the run after that. But even then,
49 GI with thread tracers. No, you got to half Nimi. So it's got to be live. It's got to be kill Rose, live, half Nimi, run. That's the math.
Or let's see what happens. I think at this point it's too tense to call. So as we sort of get down to the wire here, it's worth pointing out that the winner of this tournament, whoever it is, will receive a tournament box from Ken Cho, courtesy of Ken Cho, with the 207 logo. And so we're excited to sort of have that. Ken should be sending us proof soon. So he's a busy man, and we appreciate that he's doing this for us. Also worth pointing out that we also have a burnout prize for last place for person who played every single game, but sort of did the worst, they'll get the Gonk damage deck. And then lastly, thanks to Nick Miller right there, he's offering any person who scores directly in the middle, 10th place and 11th place, a double-sided Evade and Cloak poker token. So it looks like we're on. And Nimi rolls a 1 bank.
Just the blocking move. And then just grabs a lock that she can use when it's time to shoot GI.
Absolutely.
Where else is he going to go?
And Rose sets up that shot as well.
Is she going to focus, or is she going to calculate, or is she going to what's Rose doing?
She's going to coordinate.
There is a coordinate in case GI turned out.
Or went fast. Let's see what happens. Yes.
Not
Clears
fast
it.
enough. That is
Not fast enough, but enough to clear space, right? Like all he needs to do is just boost out of.
You can't boost out of Rose's arc right now, though. Not with this cloud right here. Not with that. Not with that cloud.
Oh, he's stressed. Is he still stressed?
No, he should be unstressed. It's
he
just
should be
that
unstressed.
he can't roll left, which is
He can boost forward. He's got plenty of room.
huh? He focus boosted for some reason.
Yeah, just in
Just
case. I think it's just for security.
Yeah, 6 minutes on the clock. Oof.
I mean, we can expect a hard one. Yeah, I wouldn't have either, but
I wouldn't have blinked it.
I see a hard one in our future to sort of get the reposition, or right, he's just going to keep on sort of dodging and try to get them out of position.
If Nimi Talon rolls, which I think she has every reason to.
She's got the lock, but she doesn't have the focus. So that kind of sort of, I don't see the need for Nimi to do it. I mean, obviously Joel is already in the lead. There's no need to get stressed at this point. I think the best.
But if she key rolls, if she trolls, and she threatens Inquisitor directly and blocks off his ability to like worm around it, I mean, she can take that range 1.
Yeah, I just think a Nimi hard 2 to the right. Yeah, and then
hard 3 to the left. Okay,
and then
all right.
No matter where, unless Grand Inquisitor turned in, which I can't imagine he did, but
I think I can see some scrambling going on in the decision making, just like dodging every shot. Like,
and
I think
Mr. Rocker Crocker there is totally right. Yeah, does a hard 3 fast.
Grand Inquisitor did the hard 3, but that's a white maneuver, so Nimi's just free with that modded shot and hoping. Yeah, we're just waiting for that last damage to go down, sort of right now. This is just 2 really hard ships for GI to flank, just because mix of positioning, GI being stressed. Yeah.
And let's see if Joel can earn these final points for a table.
Joel is terrifying me, and I never want to play against him. I would like to meet him, but I'm terrified of playing against this kind of like this being like, yeah, I'm gonna let my ships blow up. Oh, that's it. That's
a focus.
The Nimi thing, the Nimi trick goes in.
Oh, and 2 evades, and that's just 1 hit.
That's game. Which makes Joel your winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Which makes Joel the winner. I'm gonna message them and let them know to see if they want to join our chat. And that's the game. What a tense game. I've been really impressed with the way Joel plays. I mean, Will put a valiant effort up. Had some unfortunate rolls in the beginning that sort of cost him some points here. But it's been exciting. Alex, any takes from you?
No, I I really was rooting for Will. Having played against Joel, I know what it's like to be on the other side of that, and it's hard.
He's so methodical, and
it's like playing a droid.
Admirable.
Rude.
It's terrifying to sort of watch what happens. Thanks to everybody who's played. we really appreciate you joining us for this tournament. We're hoping that we have more. Again, this is our first DTS tournament, and I appreciate all the support that we've had across the board. And so, from the bottom of my heart, as the TO, as the organizer, as one of them, we thank you so much. If you are a contestant, if you've been playing with us, please make sure that you fill out that prize support form. We want to make sure that we get those prizes to you as soon as possible. If you're in Maine, we'd appreciate it if we could just drop it off for you. If you're not from Maine, you should come to Maine, visit. I feel like we should eventually become the tourism industry for Maine, Alex, so that people come here. Yeah. I'll convince Bryant to come at some point.
Sure,
Yeah.
lobster rolls and lighthouses for everybody.
Lobsters, lighthouses. I mean,
Moose.
honestly, yeah, there's tons. Like, I'm in love with Portland now that I've been here a year and a half. So, it's pretty exciting. In any case, I don't think they're seeing us, but I think we'll call it here. And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're gonna probably take a break for a little bit, but we'll be back with a new series about sort of how to play with some challenges in the coming weeks, and we'll reach out to our Discord group to see if anybody wants to join us for play. If you have any feedback or thoughts, leave it in the chat. Find us on Facebook, or feel free to join our Discord and know. I feel like that's about it. Thank you, Bryant, joining for us from all the way from California.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is 207 Squad signing off. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.